Hey y'all, you're listening to WUSSY Movie Club. This podcast is a roundtable open discussion with film enthusiasts with a queer lens. Today's filming question is Paul Verhoeven's Showgirls, part of our third season lineup of queer camp films. Joining us today is an icon and legend, Biqtch Puddin. And of course, we have our fashion icon, Daniel Shaw, and our dramaturg, Rachel Garbus. And of course, I am your moderator, John Kilberg.
So what are you going to Vegas for? You gonna win?
I'm gonna dance.
There's a spot open in the chorus line. We're auditioning tomorrow morning. I think you should try out.
I got an audition!
Biqtch Puddin, love having you on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We got a new president. Yay!
Lord Jesus.
Ooh, girl, we got the Cheeto out, sis. Come through. There's actually they're releasing shit that's like actually spelled correctly without typos. And, they're getting like, just some, nice respect is just happening when you have public office. That just gets me excited, Blood boiling. I'm alive. I could smell the air and shit. I don't know. I'm feeling good.
I just read that one of Biden's executive orders real quick was to not discriminate anyone based on their sexual orientation, which is, the word they're still using, but it's a step forward.
Don't fire me because I am me, okay?
Yes, we can breathe a little lighter, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we go around and talk about something we've watched recently, read recently, something recently. Daniel, Rachel, hi, hello.
Hi. I'll go because I just want to spend the rest of my life watching Fran Lebowitz in Pretend It's a City. Oh my God, bless my heart. It's on Netflix. It's incredible. Fran Lebowitz, for those of you who don't know, is an incredible writer, satirist, humorist. She's kind of like the original humorist. She used to write for Village Voice and publish in a lot of magazines, but now she's old and batty and cantankerous. And she and Martin Scorsese just made this sort of love song to New York. And it's just a bunch of episodes of her just trashing everything except New York, which she loves dearly. It's incredible. It's so weird. And it's beautiful. So it's called Pretend It's a City. And it's literally just Fran Lebowitz and Martin Scorsese just drinking beer and talking trash about everything. And it's amazing.
Is that new?
It just came out. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you sold that to me. It's like the first thing I'm going to be watching.
They managed to get her into some miniature recreation of New York where everything is like about the size of half a penny. It's like teeny tiny, but it's meticulous. And she's just lumbering around in it like a giant Godzilla, but pointing out streets where she used to live and like where her favorite deli is. It is so weird. This is the kind of thing where like, Martin Scorsese can do anything he wants. And he's like, this is what I want to do. I just want to hang out with Fran Lebowitz and talk. So that's
on
what
Netflix.
It is. It's on Netflix. It came out probably just a week or two ago, and it's amazing.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Also, she's a lesbian, so it's queer approved.
Ears perked.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, how about you?
I guess I'm ready for a revolution because I've been going through a hardcore feminist phase at the moment. I just stumbled onto women's rights. So I watched Lick the Star by Sofia Coppola, which is on YouTube. You can check that out. I watched Welcome to the Dollhouse again, which is also dope. Also check it out. And then Black Girl, it's only an hour and like it takes like one or two watches, but by your second watch, you're like, this slaps like harder than like all of you. And it's only an hour and it's on HBO Max. And then I finished it off by watching Greener Grass, which was surprisingly okay. Like I was genuinely surprised by like how actually funny that movie was because I was not expecting like a Hulu original to be that genuinely hilarious, but it was. So I would definitely, out of all of these, say Greener Grass is the one to start with, but all of them, just ladies being ladies. Check it out. It's dope.
Damn, you went through it. Yeah,
I did.
honestly love Lick the Star is Wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Please check that out, everybody. It's really good shit. How about you, bitch?
Well, I'm worshiping the nudes walls because for the first time in a long time, I'm actually watching Drag Race fully instead of watching the highlight clips because I have friends on both seasons, UK and in America. Team Denali, Team Candy Muse, Team Got Mick, and Team Taste, and Team Lawrence Chaney. I could not do a Scottish accent, but shout out to Lawrence Chaney, who fixed my Fiona costume on the heels of El Tour last year. Love you, Yale. And Taste is fucking fierce. I don't know. I'm excited to watch both of them. Joe Black, revenge for Joe Black. That's all I'm going to say. And then also on top of that, trivial queer candy that, we get several times a year because there's how many seasons now? Like 27. I love YouTube. I just want to give a shout out to one of my favorite YouTube channels. It's called Be Kind Rewind, where they focus on Oscar wins from the past years. And they just released one on Faye Dunaway, which is really kind of great. And it doesn't talk about what we all mostly know her for, which is portraying Mommy Dearest. But, that's it's like before she got that role. And, maybe Hollywood stigma against women, especially, because she was labeled difficult to work with, which kind of followed her career. And it was was she difficult to work with? Was she not? And I don't know. It's a really great YouTube channel because it talks about a lot of different things and it's super fucking fun. And it's run by a woman.
Hey. For me, I have one word on my lips, and that is La Veneno, because, oh my God, Cristina Ortiz Rodriguez.
So good.
The first to just be so idolized trans woman. I mean, a woman. That series is honestly phenomenal. I'm floored. I don't know why I was so late to it. I feel like I caught it and I should have known about this so long. It's like something Almodovar would make. And it is just absolutely beautiful. That's on HBO Max. It's a 1-season thing. Get to it. And make sure that, okay, so when I started it, it was in English. And I thought, this is strange. And because it is strange, it's not meant to be in English. So make sure it's in Spanish before you play it, because HBO is trying to push their dubbed track, Real awk.
No.
It was real awk for me.
Why are things still being dubbed? Nothing should be dubbed. We can all read. If you can't read subtitles, this is not the movie for you.
See, animated films, I love to argue that too, but then people bring up the fact, kids and the reading, okay, fine. But this...
Kids love anime, all right?
Yeah, I know.
They're good.
That's a whole, Daniel, that's a whole for us to get into. Because my backup is Demon Slayer, but I'm going to save my whole love for that next. Let's get to the highlight, the Las Vegas showgirl we all know, we all love. Showgirls, period. What a film.
Oh my God. You took my move.
For those who don't know, I'm doing the arm crossing nail flex move that she does several times.
This choreography that appears day in and day out in this Vegas.
I might try not to hit my mic here.
Yes.
Let's give our first impressions. I am excited. Let's start with Daniel. Daniel, what are your impressions of Showgirls?
Oh my God. Everything from everybody got AIDS and shit to, well, you fucked the moderator, to it must feel weird not to get cummed on anymore. Everything about this movie is just... It's what I love about this movie is that I feel like up until now, we've regularly talked about movies that were really long and felt very long. But this movie is long, but feels like it's 3 seconds because the movie refuses to focus on anything and kind of just hits these larger plot points of her fall from grace. And it's is it? Because 3 seconds ago, we weren't here. But no, it's amazing. This movie thinks that titties equal art, and I'm here for it. Everything about this movie is just, it's so cheesy and enthralling in the weirdest and best possible way. Now that I'm older, though, I now find the male love interest to be quite creepy. Really a creep. Oh my gosh, in so many ways. I'm so happy they didn't get together. And yeah, I think my favorite thing about the movie is the insinuation that her name is leaving me, but y'all know the darling girl. I love the insinuation that she's gonna top Nomi when it's we see your nails, you're not topping anybody.
Crystal, you mean?
Yeah, exact Crystal. The fact that we see your nails, sis. Like, that's not happening. And I think that's my favorite part of the movie.
I'm dumb. Yeah, I'm actually sitting here imagining Crystal, and honestly, it's just a wild ride that we're thrown into with this movie. Rachel, how about you? What's your first impression?
Well, I have to disclose that this was the first time I'd seen it. That's because I grew up in a leftist hippie commune, and we were just not allowed to see anything like this. We didn't even actually own a television. So I had a lot of catching up to do when I got out of there. It was a beautiful place to grow up. We climbed a lot of trees. But I had never seen it before. I mean, I was familiar with the like wildness cult classic that is Showgirls, but I'd never seen it. And it is... I mean, it's kind of incredible. It's horrific. It's so horrific in so many ways. But it's kind of one of the, like, sort of, as it came back around, reviews said it's literally perfectly bad. And I do feel like it is perfectly bad. It's like, it's so bad that it does that thing that you can't want your movie to do. And obviously, Paul Verhoeven didn't want it to be what it became. But it just circles all the way back around and just smacks itself right back in the face. And it's just somehow doing that is perfect.
I mean, shout out to Paul Verhoeven. What a guy. Just real quick, he's got a new movie coming out called Benedetta about a lesbian nun. So keep an eye out for that. That's a movie coming out. And I love how he went to the Razzies for this. He went to the Razzies, like, proudly. So what a movie. Biqtch, what about you?
It's iconic. I caught it for the very first time when I was, like, growing up randomly. I think it was, like, playing on VH1, and I just watched it, and I was like, what the I was obsessed. Like, the dancing, the choreo, them in a strip club, the fashion, Versace. I mean, sweetie, like, there is just so much iconic cinematography in this movie, and it was just like eye candy to me. Like, she's just such a huge drag inspiration. She's fucking iconic. I love, you know, Crystal's like a lesbian Shania Twain, you know, or bisexual Shania Twain. It's like really fierce. Her best friend, what's her best friend's name? I'm forgetting it right now. Molly is gorgeous. Molly is the most gorgeous girl in the whole movie, and I love her character. Mm-hmm. And I love how they find each other, like, fighting. Like, she's throwing the worst temper tantrum, like, oh, my luggage! And then she's like, no, you don't understand! Like, who acts like this, right? Like, and then, let alone, let's take this doll home and, like, feed her and let her, like, live on my sofa.
I ate your chips! It's weird shit.
But, like, you know, what a fucking wild-ass ride. And... it's a fucking perfect movie. I love Showgirls. It's amazing.
I think Biqtch brought up the most intriguing part of this viewing experience, which is that everyone's always like, yeah, you know, Nomi, she just has this thing. She just has it. And you're like, does she? Because it's like every 3 seconds she's feeling a different emotion on this intense level to where everyone she meets, she hates them. And then 3 seconds later, she's like, oh my God, thank you. Like, thank you. And you're always just like, why though? Like,
I feel bad for Elizabeth Berkley, who plays Nomi. I feel like she tried.
Oh my God.
And I heard like her agent dropped her after this movie.
Oh no.
You can tell that she thought she was giving like emotion. Yeah. Like, I am acting. I am an actor.
But that's what they told her to do. Like, Paul Verhoeven very specifically was like, play this at level 10 all the time, even when nobody else around you is doing that, which is like so painful to watch. For like, especially Molly is like this sort of really grounded character. She seems to be in school.
Molly's
like,
in a different
she's
movie.
Working as a costume director. And then she's like this really balanced level character. You do not understand why she's invited this tornado to live with her and never move out. I love how she makes like $2,000 or whatever on this. No, she makes $600 on this lap dance, and then rather than paying it to this incredibly nice girl who's let her move in for free, she blows it on a dress from Versace, which is just incredible.
Versace?
It's so good.
It's weird when the level 10 acting choices work is like right when she gets into the audition and she like puts on a face within 3 seconds, like that makes sense. But like when you like literally just lost your luggage and like you're kind of distraught and you like riling on top of like a silver car, like, what? You know, it just doesn't like, you know, I feel like, yeah, it's just kind of weird because it works so beautifully well because like when she snaps and she like has that moment to breathe and you're just looking at her, it's stunning. And it's like literally the lip gloss alone that she's wearing on this needs its own like Oscar nomination. Literally, it's fucking stunning. But like that dichotomy is just always so like, it's like, ugh, why did they make her do that the entire time? Because it's so good and it works so well in some spots and other spots it's like, no diva.
I mean, is it just me or does the movie not really begin until like the first stage performance that happens in Las Vegas? Like, I find the opening to be difficult.
This movie feels like if there was like a part 1 and a part 2, where I get what you mean by like it feels like it starts, because I feel like the first part before that stage performance is a completely different movie. Like it's a prequel.
Yes.
And then it feels like you're watching a double feature.
Like Midsommar.
Yeah, exactly. Because from that point on, we're like, everything is just different. And it's so interesting that Biqtch brought up the whole acting choices, because it's like, I feel like they did that with everyone, because like you guys said, Molly, super chill. Crystal, pretty chill. And then you have like the Showgirls, who are just like, every time they talk, they're just like so wild at each other. And don't even get me started on the strippers, like Henrietta and Al, like completely different movie than half the other cast. It's like, but it's so amazing. I mean, it's just, Al is my favorite character, by the way. It's so great.
Or like father figure. It's just so horrible. Yeah.
No, because he has some of the best in the movie. I mean,
incredible.
Why don't we hear some dramaturg history backstory from our Rachel? What do you have for us for this film?
Well, it's interesting. This is such a famous film, and I think the history of it is so famous that I was sort of like interested in how it became, and then also how it became a cult classic later. And the reason it became was basically that Paul Verhoeven was just riding on the success of like 3 huge films that were so wildly successful, Basic Instinct, and one of the other 2, RoboCop and Total Recall. Did I do it? Yes, I practiced.
All good movies.
Did one of those. But all good, all smash hits. And they were basically like, you can make whatever you want. He originally pitched it to MGM as a total just earnest movie musical. And they were like, cool, go for it. They send him to Vegas to do research. They have a debaucherous weekend. And they're sort of drawn to the seedy underbelly of Vegas rather than the glitzy front-facing showgirl aspect of it. Hence this sort of attempt to tell this satirical, over-the-top underbelly. And because they had such wide latitude to do it, they had this insane budget, tried so many famous actresses to play Nomi, all of whom rejected it. Also to play Crystal, like Paula Abdul. Everybody was like, this is an insane idea. But like Angelina Jolie, so many people rejected Nomi. And then they obviously found Elizabeth Berkley, which was a huge role for her, and then tanked her career. So sort of was going to be this ginormous smash hit, panned by the critics. Hated it. It was the first big wide release movie to be NC-17. And then after that, just like the idea of making an NC-17 movie and trying to pass it off just became extremely difficult. I feel like I watched this whole movie thinking that I was like a 14-year-old boy who had snuck into the theater. And that kind of like made it so amazing because gosh, if you were like a 14-year-old boy and you got to sneak into the movie theater to watch this, would have been incredible. And then the other thing is afterwards when it tanked, MGM was like, well, what the hell are we going to do with this film? It's terrible. So they re-released it like 5 years later as like a fun party package, and you could buy it on DVD with 2 shot glasses and a giant poster of Elizabeth Berkley and pasties, so you could play with like explicit instructions, so you could play pin the pasties on Nomi while you watched this movie. So that was like sort of in this, you know, as it moved towards cult classic. And then MGM actually really pushed for it to become a cult classic. They started doing screenings with drag queens to sort of get audience participation and sort of pushed the narrative of it being this over-the-top campy cult classic. So sort of drove that the same, much like Paul Verhoeven accepted his Razzie in person, sort of accepting and trying to capitalize on the fact that in the end it was just more of a cult classic than it was a smash hit in the beginning.
Yeah. And, you know, speaking of drag queens, I want to know, could we think of, I mean, I'm sure we could think of references to this iconic film that we've seen in drag.
One really great reference, it's not necessarily, it is drag because they put on something to mimic something else and it changed who they are, but Change Your Life music video by Iggy Azalea, for those who haven't seen it, is literally a shot for shot trying to be a remake. It was like her first attempt before, I think, Clueless, her I'm So Fancy music video came out. Change Your Life music video came out first, and it's honestly fierce. Like, she's on top of the cheetah, like smashing up money, and like shit's on fire, and she looks like hot. It's hot. Yeah, and it's like really, she starts in the pool and wearing like red pasties at poolside. That music video is one of my favorite music videos in terms of how it's shot, because it's like all showgirls and it's so great. I have a really huge theory that Alyssa Edwards takes her iconic ha like she always lip syncs that, and you can hear it specifically in the iconic lip sync versus Tatiana on All Stars 2 to Shut Up and Drive. I think she gets that from this film, where she goes, ha, like, you know, they kind of do this a lot. And I know that was a like huge thing in choreography and she is a dancer, but like, I really honestly think she feels her feminine oats really hard and references this to this. I feel like I could connect the two.
Yeah, I mean, just, I feel like in general, like Las Vegas, like they did that whole Las Vegas like theme. I was like, all I thought was Showgirls.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just like the theme.
Yeah.
I don't know, some campy moments. I mean, this is a campy film for sure.
Yeah, moments is a strong word when it comes to this movie.
I feel like when it embraces the camp, it's at its best.
To me, it's weird because I never knew there was the pool scene or the lap dance scene. I saw the VH1 take of it the first couple times I watched it, which doesn't have those scenes in it because it's not available on cable. So I watched a very different movie. So then when people got such like, oh, it's so crazy. I never knew the NC-17 until like, I think college. And then I was like, what? There's like another version of it? Because literally like, you know, Netflix is not going to be playing the titty version. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
you totally could have edited that scene out and the movie would have survived. But like, what would that movie been without?
No, the pool scene, you have to have it.
Yeah.
I would love to be on set for that day to see like how we got here and who was like, this is like deep and like enriching and like she's literally like getting flopped around like an inflatable like pool toy. Like,
yeah. I was like, this girl's gonna start a whirlpool in this damn pool. Like, they
right?
were just sucked under by the like centrifugal force of what's happening here.
You stopped with like a person after a while. Mm-hmm. It was insanity.
They often excise the rape scene though, and I think that this movie I hate that even happened, and it just feels like it's a better movie to just take it out because it's so not what everything else in the movie
I think they did that for the VH1 version because I didn't realize that scene existed either. It just kind of cut and you realize something bad happened and you could connect the dots. Like, you didn't really need to watch that to happen or take place.
Yeah, I agree. That was pretty dumb.
And Paul Verhoeven has come out and said that was a mistake, that he wishes that they hadn't done that because it's just gratuitous. It's unnecessary, making this poor, sweet Black woman be like brutalized and then be the like revenge story for this white female protagonist is just so brutal.
Molly deserves better all around, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, what are some of your favorite fashion looks and moments in Showgirls?
So speaking of Molly, one of my favorite moments is when her and Nomi are at the mall and they first see the poster for like the cool magician guy. Molly is wearing this orange crop sweater with this tank top and these baggy jeans, and then Nomi has this like sort of dancer wrap up, but you know, still showing off the goods. And I think it was like a really good showing like that late 90s. It was almost gonna be Crossroads vibes, but like it was really cute, and it was like it did a good job of communicating their relationship because it was still like showing them off and like they look great, but it was still like comfortable and close, and like it did a good job of showing off their relationship and how they were around each other. Then we get to the performance looks and another level. So many of them are great. I think the best one to me is the one where the girl drops the marbles and breaks a bitch back. That is like number 2. Because that was like never level, giving you like almost 70s, glitz and glamour vibe. And then but my personal favorite was the one where Christina broke her back, the BDSM-esque vibe. And that one, the guys and the girls were looking great. Like that was like, again, another level. I loved the piping. I loved how they had the crossbodies. It was great, and the wigs were an interesting choice. The wigs were very interesting. I wish there was more variety in that. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with coloring and stuff, because after a while, it seemed like everything was just kind of like a blunt bob, and we're just ever so slightly changing the color. So, interesting choice, but overall, I think there's so many great looks from this movie that have that like perfect late 90s meets like gaudy ridiculousness that I stunned. So,
speaking of costumes, they used a lot of the costumes in that Iggy Azalea music video, which is kind of cool. Like they got the whole costume. Like a lot of the Showgirls costumes were reused for the music video. Yeah,
that is cool. Oh, and I forgot the Versace dress. It was really cute. The Versace dress.
Yes,
that was a good one.
Worth noting. Actually, what I honestly love is just the idea of everybody's reactions when they saw it in the premiere. The stories are so funny. Like Kyle MacLachlan, right? Yeah, Kyle. He plays the boyfriend that she lap dances on. There was rumors that he left the theater because it was just so bad, and his famous quote is like, "Oh no, I sat through all 2 hours of that mess." I think it's really fun how they all sat there and just realized that this wasn't the movie they were trying to make. But I think now people can just safely say, well, it aged well. It's like a bottle of wine, Showgirls. It's a good Merlot.
Good Merlot.
And they also just made a documentary called You Don't Know Me that's sort of reflecting on the transition of this movie. And it does feel like Elizabeth Berkley got her she got her day. It seems like it's come back around to be like, okay, girl,
she's got some gigs right now. I checked up on her IMDb. Mm-hmm. She's at least not out of work completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Saved by the Bell right now, so she ain't doing too bad. Why don't we try to give this movie a number? A good old number between 1 and 10. Why don't we start with you, Biqtch?
10. Perfection. Iconic. Terrible in all the right ways. Revolutionary.
Revolutionary, I think, is really is ringing in my ear. Okay, solid, done, perfect, love. Rachel, how about you?
I feel like if I had seen it pre it becoming a Campy queer cult classic, I would have given it a very poor grade. But it does stand up. It does stand up in how totally bananas it is, and I would give it an 8.2, and then I want to see it with that brutal rape story just cut out, so I'm gonna take it down to a 7.9. I'm gonna stay there.
Daniel, how about you?
So I'm gonna give this movie a 10. I feel like you can't really replicate the viewing experience of Showgirls. We haven't had a movie that exactly hit the same way Showgirls has hit. And any movie that can do that deserves props. And any movie that has a pool scene like this movie, you're in my heart forever. Like, I will never forget you. And as such, again, as it has been stated, revolutionary, one of its kind, never before seen and never will be seen again. 10 out of 10. Like,
never seen again. 10 out of 10. Okay. Well, we got 2 10s. I will say that, I really don't like the first few minutes of this movie. For me, this movie is like an 8. It's a good 8, and because of what it is. If I were to actually give this movie an actual number, I don't even want to say what that number would be.
I'm so there.
Yeah, I know you're there with me. I also feel like I don't know how much I love how much they were showing women in this movie, but again, it was what it was. It stands the test of time. It is definitely worth everyone's time to watch. And I think it deserves every title of cult classic, but I'm going to give it an 8. Those numbers save this movie more than you can imagine for me. Those numbers were beyond everything. Even just her alone stripping on a pole.
Fierce.
That
fucking iconic.
Fierce.
Fucking iconic.
She licked the pole like all the way up. I was like, girl, go.
Perfection.
Honestly, I feel like that was where, like, unironically, she brought it. Because a lot of actors
No, she was a
whole...
fucking stripper. Like, she had to pay rent. She had to fucking pay rent. She had to fucking pay rent, and she paid her rent, bitch, on time. That was a fucking stripper, and I live. I fucking live.
I also just
She
feel
was
like a little
committed.
button. This is like the Las Vegas Mulholland Drive.
I do feel like this was like a precursor to what HBO like took. Like, HBO watched this and was like, all right, we're gonna take this down to like maybe a 7, but we're gonna go here. Like, if this is where Showgirls went, we can head in that direction really cleanly. So let's go, bitch. And that's where I think HBO like saw this movie and has like done a track record since. Because like Sopranos came out after this, and it was just like, oh, we're going there, bitch. We're going there.
Thank you all for joining me. This has been a fun discussion on Showgirls. Bitch, always a pleasure. Can't wait till you're on.
Thanks for having me.
Love you. Rachel, Daniel, let's all say goodbye.
Go.
Wait. We can't say goodbye. It's your birthday this week. Y'all, let's say happy 30th birthday to John Kilberg. Come on.
I'm turning 30.
Happy birthday, baby.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're in quarantine. We got to celebrate when we can, right? All right, let's celebrate your birthday. Y'all give John some love on the social.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Okay, let's all say goodbye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening, y'all. And be sure to follow us at WUSSY Movie Club on both Facebook and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date on our lineup of films this season of Queer Camp. Until next time, bye, y'all.